Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a Tuesday morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, not a cloud in the sky. It's 16 degrees here in southern British Columbia. It's 16 degrees Celsius, which would make it about 60 Fahrenheit. Very pleasant. Very pleasant after Anaheim. I don't think it got down to these temperatures at night. Well, as you can hear, I still have a cold and I still have a sore throat. But that is pretty good considering that I moved from these sort of mild temperatures into very hot and stroke very cold with the air conditioning changes. And I really am aware now that that's, you know, what my body's going to do. Plus, you know, the allergens. And I'm actually very, very delighted that I'm doing as well as I am. Now, one of the questions that came up time and time again from people, from the viewers that I met there, and from people who care and so forth, is where do you find the energy? You know, I don't know. I don't know how many people ask me that. Where do you find the energy to walk, you know, 8 miles at a convention? Where do you find the energy to do this, to do that? Well, it's a good subject. And one that I'm certain every one of you can relate to if you understand what gives you energy. I like to call it mojo juice. Mojo. You have to know what gives you mojo juice. Now, I get energy from people. I get energy from getting hugs. I get energy from meeting interesting people. So, if you could imagine that every time I do anything like that, it's like sticking myself into a socket and getting more energy. I wonder if that makes sense to people. Hope so. So, in an event like VidCon, where I'm going to meet a lot of people, most of whom I've never met before, but some that I will. Some will touch my soul, like Dawn and her family, for example, touched my very soul because they were so adorable and so kind to me and treated me like family rather than something weird. And for that, I love them. You know, I mean, it was just amazing. And then I met them the next day and they were just like so pleased to see me again. And it was just like, how can I not get energy from that? You know, it's bound to give you energy. It's exciting, for God's sake. And then you need to look at what drains your energy. What drains your energy of people judging you and people not accepting you for who you are, or, you know, all those sort of things. And so I try and stay away from people who are doing that to me. And, you know, normally, you know, in any situation you can feel those. So I like to hang out with people that, you know, are positive about what we're doing. So, for example, every morning I got up and I'd be looking forward to going to the convention because I was going to meet people, then I'd get hugs and I'd, you know, get to meet interesting people, maybe interview a couple. So that gave me the energy to get up in the morning. Now, I didn't get up at sparrow tweet, you know, I was getting up sort of about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then going down and having breakfast, because that was the most important meal of the day, I discovered. That really was an important meal when you're doing this sort of thing. And then I'd walk over to the convention. Well, that's good exercise to start with. And then I'd run around checking things out and sitting in on seminars and things until about 11. And there was a natural break in the program about then, so then I'd walk back to the hotel, more exercise, walk back to the hotel, offload whatever footage I had in my camera, and recharge my camera, and then repeat the same process. And sometimes I did it 3 times. Sometimes I came back in the late afternoon or in the early afternoon, did the same thing again, and then went back for a later session. So all the time, what I'm doing is recharging the battery. Now, I want to talk about the important part here. And for those of you who are bedridden or incapable of getting up, I understand that. That's a whole different story here. I'm talking about everyday sort of people. If you don't like what you do in a day, the chances are you won't be in any rush to get up, and it'll be very slow. If you are in depression, you won't want to get up and face the day. Right? You'd rather turn over and go back to sleep and lose half a day. I understand that. I've been there. So what's missing in people's lives is something that they are passionate about, passionate enough to want to get up and face the day. If you look at any of the crew that went down to do this, because a crew of us go down to do these events, and we each have different functions. If you look at any of the crew, most of them go out and party all night and still get up and go like a mad thing all day long. I mean, I can't do that, obviously. But I'm sorry, I can't show you, but there's this truck ahead of me, a pickup truck, and it's obviously was tying down some of the stuff in the back of the truck. Actually, looks like it's got those little carts that you pull kids along with, but they were obviously wrapped into the truck with string, and the string is running behind it. It's going to be interesting if somebody accidentally rolls onto that string. Looks so funny. Sorry about that. It almost looks like it ought to have a dog running behind at the end of it. You know, poor dog, but you know what I mean? It looks like a long lead. Shame. I hope none of the little trucks fall off. Anyway, where was I? So one of the things that I realize in life is you need something in your life that's worth getting up for. Whether you're in pain, whether you're in, you know, retired, whether you're whatever, you want something that is worth getting up for. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's a job, maybe it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. And that's called motivation. That's what gives you mojo, is something worth getting up for, something worth hustling for, something worth doing things for. So if your life looks pretty darn boring and you sort of go, same old, you know, you haven't really got motivation. What you've got is survival. Because that's really humdrum, right? It's day-to-day stuff. How do I survive another day? So that is why, and you'll hear me do it at weekends, I will do stuff and go, okay, once I've done this, I can reward myself by doing that. Yay. You know, whether it's painting or a little experiment or whatever. You know, I use the positive to drive the humdrum. I just need to spend an hour tidying up here, and after that I can do whatever. And that's how I keep my mojo juice flowing. And by the way, I will do what I love for quite a while, probably a bit longer than I should on my little schedule, because I want to. Or because I'll do it until I get tired. And I'll go and do the other thing while I'm tired. Because then I don't notice it as much. So I hope that makes some sense to you guys. What gives you energy is things that motivate you. And what motivates you? I don't know. For some of you, it's love. For some of you, I mean, I can remember when I was in my 20s and in love with just about everybody. When I was in my 20s, I can remember that I could be exhausted when I came home from work. You know, and that guy would phone and say, do you want to go out and party? And I go, of course. You know, suddenly my energy level was amazingly filled right up. And it had nothing to do with my real energy. It was just like, oh, I'm going to be with that guy. That was my motivation. So it gave me mojo juice. So have a look at your life and what you do with it. Have a look and see, what can you start in the way of a fun hobby? What can you go do? Like, go visit somebody that needs your visit more than you need it. This weekend sometime, I'm not quite sure when because I'm waiting to hear, I'm going to go and help a friend of mine pack. They're moving houses. I can't do much. I've got a shop back and all sorts of things. But you know, I can be there and laugh and pretend to help. And at least be there for her. While she probably does most of the work. It's not about how much can I physically do. It's about, hey, I'm here with you. So do I want to get in my car and drive, you know, an hour to go and do that? Probably not. But you know, the reward, the mojo juice bit is seeing her, because she makes me laugh a lot. Seeing her and watching somebody else struggle with, shall I throw it away? Because, you know, I always struggle with that. And just know that I did something good for somebody. That will give me great pleasure. Mojo. All right, everybody, have a super day. And by the way, I slept like a log. For those of you who wonder, did I sleep after all of that? Let me give you an example. Sorry, I wanted to do that. You can probably imagine by the time I got home last night, I was pretty fried. You can probably see that I was pretty fried even driving the car. And so I knew if I sat down on my bed, that would be all over. And I really did know that. So I didn't. And then what I did was I actually did everything in order. And the order was, the first thing I had to do was to get cool, because I was very hot and sweaty. So first thing I did was go and have a shower, and really good shower, and cool my body down. And then I put the wash in, because I knew I had to go to work. And by the way, this cardigan is still a little damp, but nobody will know, because by the time I've walked around for a little bit, it'll be dry. And then what did I do next? Had something to eat. And while I was doing that, I was starting to upload the footage from my cameras into my computer. And then I would do the next thing, and then I was editing, and then I uploaded. So the very last thing I did prior to going to bed was actually the vlog. Why? Because I knew I would find the mojo to do the vlog, right? Because that's really important to me, as you know. So I put all the things I didn't want to do ahead of uploading the vlog and editing it. Now, I don't mind telling you, by the time I got to there, I was pretty darn tired. Because I did it that way, I managed to do the vlog, get it uploaded, get it up into Google, and get it out to you all. In fact, I think I did 2. That was what I did. I did 1 quickly because I knew I had enough footage for 2. I did 1 quickly before I started everything. That was right. And then I did the second one later. And that gave me energy. Because, as I said, I will always find the energy. Sorry for the sun being on the camera here. It's behind me somewhere here. I will always find the energy to do that because it's so important to me. It's part of my routine. It's a bit like breathing. So I challenge you here. My thought for the day is energy, obviously, but my thought for the day for you is, what do you need to change in your routine so that you put the most difficult things first and work up to the reward? You know, if having your second cup of coffee is really important to you, put a couple of nasties in front of it. I can have my second cup of coffee after I have done this and this. Now, I need to be quite honest. My house looks like a bomb sitter in about 3 different rooms. The kitchen looks like a bomb sitter. My back bedroom where I'm doing the computer work is now looking, because I packed in there and unpacked in there, so that's got stuff all over the bed. My bedroom, you know, I was amazed I found enough room to sleep, but I did. And so I've got some work to do this week, but you know, I realize again and again that I've got no rush. Got a 4-day weekend coming up, and I can just do a little bit every night and have it all back to normal by the weekend. Alright everybody, have a super day. Remember, you make your own energy in a lot of cases. And the other thing I just need to add, now that I think about it, is please know I also paced myself. When I say paced myself, you will hear that I did a spurt of going to the convention, and then I go back to the hotel and just sit quietly and upload video and do whatever, right? So, and then I'd go and have another burst for a couple of hours, and then I'd come back and relax. And just remember that that is also important, especially if you're older. I could not have kept that level of energy going all day long. So for any of you who think I do, really. Really? Thank you for thinking I'm that brilliant. I'm not. See how you do. I'd be very interested to hear how you find you get your mojo juice. What is it that does it for you? What is it that you do that gives you energy, and what is it that you do that drains your energy? Be very aware of that. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.